Previously, Teke went on a brutal killing spree, and Kana lost her close friend Ayakasa at the hands of Teke. She tried to find a way to stop it by going to a memorial with Rihanna, but Rihanna, her cousin, ended up getting killed as well. Teke hasn't stopped hunting people, and those who survived his grasp are now haunted and terrified. Let's follow along to see how this story ends. In Likai, Second Gate. After Kana had been home from her insomnia for a while, one day, her mother took her out to get some medicine and told Kana to go home by herself because she was going to work. As she walked back home, she stopped at a light. She stared before choosing another way, the same path where friend Ayakasa died. In the bridge's middle, wind gusted by and Teke appeared behind. She looked ready for death before it lunged, slicing her like others. Scene shifts to Netsuki and Reiko, a school couple, on a day overpass. Netsuki discusses Tagate's murders as they head to the scene. Netsuki wonders why it's still cordoned off, referring to Ayakasa, police guard Kana's body, killed last night, before it lunged at her from behind. Sliced her in two like the others. Netsuki and Reiko, high schoolers, walk. Netsuki discusses Tagate's murders. She questions the cordon, thinking of Ayakasa, but police guard Kana's body, killed last night. Reiko urges her not to look, but Netsuki insists. Tagate, who knew Kana, stands nearby, looking sad before leaving. The girls ponder his sadness. At school, students talk about legends. Reiko asks if Tagate caused the events. Her friend asks if she's scared. Reiko isn't. Her friend recounts Kana and Ayakasa, best friends who died because of Tagate. Reiko said there's no need to go look, but Netsuki was determined to check it out. Tagate, an academic assistant, was also standing there. He looked at her with a sorrowful expression. The two girls watched him. Students were talking about the haunting legends, but Reiko didn't seem scared and asked her friend if she thought the events from yesterday were caused by Tagate. Her friend continued to recount the story of Kana and Ayakasa, who were best friends and died together in the same place, all because of Tagate. Reiko said that was enough and to stop talking about the house after there had been death before she walked away. Students discussed haunting legends. Reiko was unfazed. She asked if yesterday's events were Tagate's doing. Her friend asked if she was scared. Reiko said no. Her friend recounted Kana and Ayakasa's story, best friends who died together due to Tagate. She added they were safe if they crossed the bridge without red. Reiko said enough, stopped talking about the house, then walked away. Her friend continued, mentioning their red-tied uniforms. Later, Rika, a high-class girl, entered. Reiko asked why Rika missed group work. Rika apologized. She forgot. Reiko said everyone's trying hard. One person's selfishness affects all. Rika looked angry. She said not to be scared, because if they crossed the bridge without anything red on them, they would be fine. Reiko told her to stop talking about the house, after there had been deaths, and started to walk away, but her friend kept going on about what they would do if it were true, since their school uniform has a red tie. After a while, Rika, the high-class girl from their school, walked in. Reiko asked Rika why she didn't show up for their group work yesterday. Rika apologized, saying she forgot. Reiko then said that everyone is trying really hard, but one person's selfishness could cause problems for the whole class. Rika's expression turned angry. As she slammed her notebook on the table, she said, "Sorry, is that okay?" and added that she would help next time. Reiko then walked back to her table. During lunch, Netsuki came over to talk to Reiko, saying she was brave to speak to Rika like that. Reiko replied, "Why not? It's the truth, and it's something that needs to be said, right?" Reiko slammed her notebook on the table and asked, "Sorry, is that okay?" She returned to her table. Reiko said, "Why not? It's the truth and needs to be said." During lunch, Netsuki came over to talk to Reiko, saying she was really brave to speak to Rika like that. Reiko replied, "Why not? It's the truth, and it's something that needs to be done, right?" During the meeting before the festival, it seemed that Rika's group really didn't like Reiko at all, because she was trying to get everyone to come together to help out, while Rika's group was just being lazy. That day, a girl named Card invited her friends, including Netsuki, to go grab something to eat. At that moment, Reiko noticed that Netsuki was walking with Rika's group, and Rika's friends were trying to persuade her to join their group. Meanwhile, Tagate is still searching for evidence related to the murder case, and has received new information that involves the uncle who owns Tagate's old house. The next day, Lego was bullied again when her locker was slashed, with a message saying, "Go die, you idiot." Rika and her gang seemed behind it. In class, Lego's wallet was stolen, and she suspected Sayaka, her old friend who joined Rika's group. Lego confronted Sayaka at the locker, but had no proof. Netsuki and Lego were walking home when Rika's group invited Netsuki to karaoke. In class, Lego's wallet got stolen. She thought Sayaka, her friend who joined Rika, took it, so she asked her, after seeing her alone at lunch, but she had no proof, upsetting her friends. After school, Netsuki and Lego were walking home when Rika's group invited Netsuki to karaoke, pulling her away. There, Netsuki learned Sayaka took the wallet. She was shocked, unable to believe the betrayal. Lego then offered Netsuki the wallet to return. Netsuki was invited to karaoke by Rika's group. There, Netsuki learned Sayaka took Lego's wallet. Rika offered the wallet, saying returning it meant leaving their group. At the karaoke room, Netsuki learned the truth that Lego's missing wallet was taken by Sayaka. She was stunned for a moment, disbelieving that Sayaka could betray Lego. Then Rika pulled out Lego's wallet and asked Netsuki to return it. "If you return it, you won't be one of us anymore." Then, Rika called her group of friends and walked away. That evening, Lego crossed a bridge and heard a familiar sound. She recalled Netsuki's words about red items and safety. Suddenly, Rem rushed towards her. If she returns it, she will no longer be one of us. Before she could call her friends, she walked out. That evening, Lego walked over the bridge and heard a sound indicating Kes was near. She thought of what Neski had said. Suddenly, Rem swept towards her. She called Sayaka to apologize for accusing her of theft. At that moment, the train sound grew louder, and she wondered if it was possible for them to meet. Just then, Takeda stood right behind her and told Sayaka she knew her actions, and the moon shone blood red. Not long after, Sayaka walked up with a friend, calling Lego on the other side. Soon, they heard a strange sound, found a package, and the wind blew towards them. At that moment, Takeda stood right behind her and told Sayaka that she knew what Sayaka was doing, and the moon shone with a blood-red light. Not long after, Sayaka walked up the bridge with another friend and started calling out for Lego, who was on the other side of the bridge. After a while, the two girls heard a strange sound before coming across a package, and the wind blew towards them. It will rush in and cut Sayaka's body into two, right in front of her other friend. Lego, who was on the other side of the bridge, witnessed that event as well. Takeda visits Uncle Take to ask about a murder case. The uncle had said American soldiers weren't behind the Ticket Tech incident. Records from 60 years ago showed a teenager saw the event when a young Teke woman was raped. That teenager was Uncle Take. Takeda asked what he saw. The uncle, avoiding the topic, claimed it was too long ago to remember. Takeda begged for the story. The uncle said a young woman skipped school to play in the mountains, where he heard her voice and saw men raping her. He recognized one as a chairman's son, who didn't want the incident publicized, so they blamed American soldiers. The young woman later committed suicide. The uncle said he couldn't remember much, since it happened a long time ago, and tried to get Takeda to leave his house. But Takeda knelt down and begged the uncle to tell him the story. The uncle recounted that it involved a young woman who had skipped school to play in the mountains. He heard a woman's voice nearby, so he went to take a closer look. He saw a group of men surrounding her and raping her. He was terrified at that moment, and recognized the group that was attacking her, one of whom was the son of a well-known chairman. The chairman's son didn't want this incident to make the news and tarnish their reputation, so they spread rumors saying it was the work of American soldiers. After that, she committed suicide, and the whole story came to an end when Rung asked Take if she knew what happened to those three afterward. Take said that they were all killed shortly after the incident at the old train wreck. The uncle said she was very cold-blooded because the bodies of those three were torn to pieces, which was her curse, and it became a rumor that spread throughout the community. Rika's group discussed Saya's death. Rika asked about Saki. A friend noted Saki was withdrawn. Natsuki met Reiko. Reiko found her wallet with Natsuki. Reiko confirmed Ticket's existence, saying Ticket killed Saya. A friend said Saki isolated after the incident. That evening, Natsuki urged Reiko to report the missing wallet. Reiko found her wallet with Natsuki, leading to an argument. Reiko said she was with Rika's group, nothing more to discuss. Before leaving, she told Natsuki Ticket was real. Ticket killed Saya at the bridge, wondering who was next. Next evening, friends asked about Okuba. One said Okuba went home with a classmate. Natsuki recalled Okuba wronged Reiko before joining Rika, so she rushed to find Okuba meeting Reiko at the tracks. We had nothing more to say. Before leaving, Reiko told Natsuki that her words were true. Ticket really killed Saya on the bridge that day. The next evening, Natsuki's friends asked about Okuba. One said he went home with a classmate. Natsuki remembered Okuba wronged Reiko before siding with Rika. She rushed to find Okuba, who Reiko called to meet at the train tracks. Natsuki found Okuba across the tracks. She shouted his name. He turned, and a gust of wind blew. The next evening, Natsuki was meeting her friends. She asked where Okuba had gone. One friend mentioned that Okuba had gone home with another classmate. Natsuki remembered that Okuba had also done something bad to Reiko before switching sides to Rika, so she hurried out to find Okuba, who was being called out by Reiko to meet at the train tracks below. The bridge was closed due to a murder that had happened. Natsuki rushed to find Okuba and spotted him standing on the other side of the train tracks. When she shouted his name, he turned around, and a gust of wind blew towards her. Then Ticket came running in from behind and sliced Okuba in half before running away. Because the bridge was closed due to a murder incident, Natsuki rushed out to find the meteorite and met Okuba standing on the other side of the train tracks. When she called out to Okuba, she suddenly turned around and a gust of wind blew towards her. Before Ticket came running in from behind and sliced Okuba's body in half, ran away. Natsuki saw Okuba's body cut, and she was shocked to see Reiko behind him as his body fell. Reiko walked over Okuba's corpse towards Natsuki and told her, "This is what happens when you cross the line, understand?" Natsuki begged Reiko to stop, but Reiko challenged her, "Try to stop me." News of the death spread as Takeda mourned. Natsuki also went to Kana's house. There, Natsuki met Takeda. She tried to follow to ask, but he hurried away. "I'm going to kill them all." Natsuki pleaded with Reiko, saying, "Please stop." Reiko replied, "Go ahead if you can, stop me," and then walked away. The news of the deaths of all the female students spread quickly, while Takeda was mourning at home. Natsuki also went to Kana's house since she was a close friend. There, Natsuki ran into Takeda and remembered that she had seen him at the scene on the bridge. She tried to follow him to ask him something, but he seemed like he didn't want to talk and hurried away. Natsuki ran after him until she fell and told Takeda that she had seen Ticket too. Takeda then agreed to talk to Natsuki. As Rika's group was filled with fear as their friends were being killed individually, one of them suggested it was revenge from Reiko. Rika stood up and asked that friend if they really blamed her. Suddenly, Rika's phone rang, and it was Reiko on the line. She said she wanted to meet Rika at the train tracks. Before hanging up, the friends in the group warned her not to go. They saw her kill their friends, but Rika said it sounded interesting and decided to see if it was a scare tactic, and if that was the case, then they would find out what would happen to her. Before hanging up, the friends in the group tried to convince Rika not to go, saying that this was all revenge from Reiko, and they had already seen their friends get killed by her. But Rika said it sounded interesting, so she thought it would be better to go and see for herself, if it was just a scare tactic. And if that was the case, then they would find out what would happen to her. Cut to Natsuki talking to Takeda, and learned Ticket is a curse tied to names of her past tormentors. All the names of the victims have a connection in their letters. Reiko is spared as Ticket uses her to find more victims. Natsuki writes down her friend's name, finding all 4 girls share letter connections. Including Reiko, but the reason she's still alive now is that Ticket is using her as a tool to find more victims. Natsuki then tried writing down the names of the remaining friends in their group, and it turned out that all 4 girls also had a connection in the letters of their names. She and Takeda tried calling all 4 of them, but no one picked up, so they decided to drive out to look for them, because they were afraid something bad might happen. And the reason they didn't answer the call is that they were all on their way to meet Reiko at the train tracks. Netsuki asked Take if there were any other ways to protect themselves. He said there are, but he wasn't sure if they would work, because it's just a legend that says if you can recite those spells, you can protect yourself. He also mentioned that the deaths of each victim happened around the old train tracks near the bridge, so we should go check it out over there. The scene cuts to the 4 girls arriving at the train station. One of the friends asked to go to the bathroom and was the first to be attacked by Teke. There is Rika fled. She heard Teke grab the mop. Rika survived. Rika searched for Reiko with a flashlight. Teke charged at her from the window. Rika blocked with the mop, but it hit her head, causing blood. But the other 2 friends, who had run away earlier, were attacked by Teke at the same time. Right now, Rika is the only one left alive. She's trying to use her flashlight to look for Reiko and calling for her to come out. Then she suddenly encounters Teke at the window, which charges at her immediately. Rika tries to hold it back with the mop, but Teke is incredibly strong, and the mop ends up smashing into Rika's head, causing blood to pour out and soak the floor. On Mizuki and Takeda's side, they came across the bodies of their 2 friends who had been cut in half near the train tracks before running into Reiko. Reiko said that all 4 of them were dead. Netsuki snapped Reiko back to reality, telling her that she was thinking wrong because she couldn't control Teke. It was actually Teke that was controlling her to kill everyone. Reiko replied, "So what? I don't care." And suddenly, a gust of wind blew in. "I don't care." Then suddenly the wind blew in. Teke is getting closer. Netsuki tried to pull Reiko to escape together, but it was too late. Teke had already figured everything out and charged at Reiko. In that moment, Reiko pushed Netsuki away just before she could get sliced in half by Teke. Netsuki and Takeda quickly ran away. But if they keep chasing after the 2 without letting up, Netsuki's spell failed. Teke chased. She tried again. But it didn't work, because the package was still chasing, not far away. Sushi thought there must be something wrong with the pot, before she stumbled and fell, then tried reciting the spell again in her own way. Just then, Teke charged at her immediately, but it only managed to tear her shirt. Take was stunned by what he saw, realizing that the spell Netsuki recited actually worked. It seemed like everything was about to end there. They walked back to look at Reiko's body. Netsuki came to apologize to Reiko's upper body and said thank you. But before she could say anything more, Reiko suddenly opened her eyes and attacked Netsuki immediately. And then the movie did.